guys? New face here on the channel. My name is Gsluke DFS. I am a professional DFS player who's going to be bringing you guys some DFS content here on the Gundacker channel. Today specifically, we're going to be covering the NBA jock market and some of my favorite targets for the IPO phase. If you guys aren't already familiar with jock market, it is a DFS format where you treat players like stocks, invest into them, and see returns much like the real life stock market. You have an IPO period, just like the real life stock exchange, where you can bid on players, and at the end of that phase, stocks are distributed to everyone in the field. And based on a player's performance, as opposed to other players in the field, based on their final ranking, you're paid money based on those shares. It's been a very profitable form of DFS for me, particularly as it doesn't have much traffic to this point. With less users, there's much better prices during this IPO type of phase, and as a result, makes it one of the best, one of the most profitable sites in all of the DFS sphere. In this video, we're going to be covering my top 6 targets for the IPO phase tonight, whether it's an injury situation, a favorable matchup. These are players that I not only expect to go for less than they should, but should also give you some top-end upside in terms of your portfolio as well. Before we hop into it, a little introduction though. My name is Gsluke DFS, Luke for short in real life. But overall, I'm an electrical engineer by trade that quickly transitioned into the DFS sphere out of college. I was good at engineering, made me quite a bit of money, but in reality, not what I'm passionate about. Much more passionate about sports, so that's where I'm at today. And it didn't hurt that early on in my DFS career, came home with quite a bit of cash. So gonna show some of my biggest wins here on the screen here. That 100K win was actually my first ever large field tournament win. That was within 6 months of starting my DFS career. Really started out with some small dollar stuff, but when I graduated up to the big boys, there was no going home. In fact, it was so profitable. You see a 50K win there, 25K win. I have a handful of 5K wins in golf, NBA, also in the NFL at this point. And I was making enough money where I was able to do this full time. So it's what I find myself doing these days, something I'm a little bit more passionate about. And what I hope to do here in the future is make modeling, mathematical analysis, analytics in general, a little bit more accessible for the world. I think it's something that everyone has the capability of doing in their own type of capability. I mean, not everyone out there is going to be doing complex type of trajectory analysis, using complex, differential equations, everything like that. But linear algorithms out there, just linear types of analysis, whatever you guys are capable of implementing is going to help you guys out in the DFS sphere. So that's really what I'm all about here. I've had some DFS wins and looking to give back to you guys. So that's pretty much what I'm all about. I'm super stoked to be here on the channel, able to make some content for you guys. So let's hop right on into it. Let's go ahead and start at the bottom of the list with Jalen Smith of the Phoenix Suns, who's been thrust into the starting role with DeAndre Ayton out, but now also with JaVale McGee sidelined. And as a result, we have seen him thrust into a star level role. This is somebody who's going to average right around a fantasy point per minute, pretty much no matter the matchup. But tonight against a New Orleans Pelicans team that is extremely soft, particularly in their front court, going to be a matchup that he looks to take advantage of. So first and foremost, a lot of this play comes down to the pre-ranking as well. Jock Market right now has him projected for less than 18 fantasy points. Clearly, their algorithm doesn't have him as a starter right now, and that's why he finds himself all the way down at number 57. In my personal projections, I have him for right around 27 projected minutes, which puts him at a very solid 26-point median projection. Give or take a few tenths of a points there on that projection, but overall it's very clear that he is underrated on that site, and as a result, going to go for less than he should. Sure, there's a little bit of an adjustment. People are able to see when players are mispriced, but as a general trend, when guys are lower on the IPO rankings than they should be, they also go for less on the IPO phase than they should. So Jalen Smith should be a great source of value, whether it's in DFS or, of course, for the jock market tonight. Next up, we have Buddy Hyde of the Sacramento Kings. And this Kings-Lakers game tonight is going to be an absolute fantasy goldmine. So whether you're playing on DraftKings, whether you're playing on a stock market level of DFS, going to be an attractive situation. So whether you're trying to get a Buddy Hyde or going to a De'Aaron Fox, they're at number 3. Both are going to be great options. Not only are you looking at some extra peripherals, extra rebounds with the type of pace that we're expecting, potentially some extra assists and steals, but most importantly, lots of shot production. These two aren't afraid of throwing up shots, specifically Buddy Hield, who, when he comes off of the bench, is going to shoot 5 to 6 times in almost every single rotation. So as of right now, pre-ranked there at number 50, which clearly that would be where you'd be ranked in most slates. But tonight with this type of matchup, I have him at number 30. It's a huge boost to some of these scoring dependent type of players like a Buddy Hyde when we have a total that's approaching the 232 point. At less than $5.50, I think you're getting an absolute steal on Buddy Hyde, and he has true 7, 8, maybe even $9 return upside. Next up, Emmanuel Quickley, going to be a huge beneficiary of the Kemba Walker injury. You're already dealing with quite a few players out for this Knicks team, people that are being rolled into the rotation out due to COVID. Quickley is going to be at least a source of consistency at this point. You've seen him play well off the bench in the past, and as of right now, could potentially start tonight. They've gone with Grimes in the past week. McBride has started for them, but Quickley clearly head and shoulders more talented than the other two. So perhaps they want him to come off the bench just so he can lead that second unit, but a little bit more likely is that he goes out and starts this game. He's for sure going to be closing for this Knicks team. So at the pre-rank of number 48, I have him closer to number 29 on my personal board. And much like a Buddy Hyde, you're not going to have to pay very much for him. People love to prioritize a lot of the guys in that 20, 30, and up range in terms of the pre-rankings. Some of these guys in the 40s, 50s, and 60s get completely overlooked. So even though I have him at $5.50, would not be surprised if he goes for significantly less than that, which would only make him a better deal for this slate. Next up, we have De'Aaron Fox, so the other guard for this Kings team that I love targeting. The matchup's great. We've already gone through that. But he's also much lower ranked than he should be for these pre-rankings. He's there at number 19. I have him projected for number 11 on my personal board. And as a result, we're likely to get Fox for less than we should. And not only are we dealing with a high floor because he's ranked as low as he is, we're also dealing with a lot of upside. This matchup could be a shootout, and in those type of circumstances, particularly if the Kings keep it close, this is a 7-point spread, which definitely brings an aspect of blowout risk. But if it's a competitive game, De'Aaron Fox is going to be a huge reason why. So I'm not afraid to get both of these guards here. You know, in DFS, might want to guard against using both of them together, but on the jock market, where you don't need a ceiling type performance from both of these players, if Hyde goes out there, reaches value, but Fox goes out there as one of the top scorers on the slate, we are going to be extremely happy with that outcome. That's also something I really like about the jock market, is that we don't have to have that 0.1% performance to really go out there and cash a lot of money. Above average nights are extremely profitable on the jock market at this point, particularly because of how soft the IPO pricing can be. Next up, we have Brandon Ingram, who's also in a great matchup against the Phoenix Suns. And while the Suns were a great defense last year, their efficiency was off the charts. I mean, up there with Utah. This year, it's not the case. They're running with a ton of pace. They have the same type of players, but their scheme has changed drastically. Trying to get up more shots. They understand that they're one of the best offensive teams in the NBA as well, and looking to take advantage of that. So the Pelicans, even though they are a little bit of a lower caliber team, this is a relatively large spread here. If they keep it close, much like a De'Aaron Fox, Brandon Ingram is going to be the main reason why. If we take a look at some of the matchups as well, you have quite a few players out for this Phoenix Suns team, particularly in the middle of that defense. Lots of centers out. Jalen Smith starting for that team. Jalen Smith is not known for his defense. So Brandon Ingram should have plenty of lanes to be able to slash to the rim and do what he does best. I mean, sure, he's got a pretty good mid-range jumper, but when he's going out there scoring 30, 40 actual points, it's because he's getting to the rim, he's getting tons of free throws, that kind of thing. And this could be the exact kind of matchup we're looking for. So in the pre-IPO rankings, we have him at number 13. Personally, I have him at number 7 on my board. So if we can get him for less than $9.25, which I think is more than reasonable, he can give us legit $13, $14, even $15 returns with his type of ceiling performance. So really like him there. In DFS, depends on the site in terms of the pricing, but an intriguing ceiling option in a very solid matchup. But at number 1, the best play on the slate, Jock Market agrees as well. He's the #1 pre-ranked player, but as long as we can get him for less than $16, LeBron James is going to be a great investment tonight. The Sacramento Kings-Lakers game, we know it's the best matchup tonight, and more importantly, LeBron is playing without Anthony Davis. He's been playing a lot of center minutes, and at the center position, LeBron James is averaging 1.86 fantasy points per minute. Now, on the Jock Market, it's a little bit less than that because the scoring system is a little bit different, but I think you guys get the point. This guy's not only getting a ton of extra rebounds, he's maintaining his playmaking ability, still getting plenty of assists, and of course, getting a few extra defensive stats because he's being utilized as the center. So overall, you're just looking at an uptick in production, the same type of minutes load, and if he's going to be utilized this way, with some of the centers coming off the bench to spell LeBron, rather than LeBron playing aside them, he's going to be an absolute fantasy gold mine. So he's actually projected for 54 fantasy points on the Jock Market. I have him at a 62-point projection. I mean, that's just the kind of guy that he is at this center type of role. And the cherry on top is that matchup against the Kings. I mean, tons of shots expected to put up. It is only going to further boost his peripheral stats. Plus, you're looking at just extra usage and scoring in general in this high-scoring type of affair. So, again, he's going to be pricey. He's the top guy on the board. But at the same time, $16, the most expensive guy on the board typically goes for less than that. And at that type of price tag, you're still looking at a ton of value because he's not only going to give you a high floor for this slate, but potentially, clearly, #1 level type of upside. That is all for the Jock Market preview. As always, and particularly in this COVID era of the NBA, make sure you guys are staying on top of the news. If we have players rolled out just before lock, could be some really good value spots, particularly in some of those IPO prices, or if guys are rolled out after lock, might try to invest in some of the backups before their price goes through the roof. So lots of money to be made over there, particularly if you're diligent with the news. And down in the comments, guys, I would love if you guys could let me know who your favorite target for tonight is. Maybe it's somebody that was on my list or completely off of my board, but love to hear from you guys, get some debate going down there. And love to hear your opinion as well. You guys are a very bright community, and I think as a whole, we could help each other out. And as always, I would also like if you guys could like the video down there. That's letting us know that you guys enjoyed this type of content. You want to see more data-driven Jock Market content to come in the future. And of course, helps get the word out there. Helps it grow the channel and everything like that. So we really appreciate if you guys went out and do that. If you haven't already subscribed to Gundacker, highly recommend you guys do that as well. He's got tons of daily NBA content, not just Jock Market that you guys are seeing here. NFL content, MLB content to come throughout the rest of the year. And overall, this Run DFS community is one of the brightest in all of the sphere, if not the brightest. Just a great group of guys, people that really know their crap, and overall, going to be giving you guys a lot of solid information. In terms of my personal YouTube channel, make sure you guys go and check that out if you guys are into golf or football. We have the Century Tournament of Champions this week. It's the first golf tournament back from an extended break. Essentially, all of the winners from last year teeing it up in Hawaii at one of the coolest golf courses you'll see all year. So if you're into golf, maybe looking to get into golf, make sure you guys check out my channel in the description. I have course breakdowns for the course each week. So if you're new to golf, that's a good way to get acclimated with some of the courses. And of course, DK picks. So again, if you're new to DraftKings over there, kind of go through my process, why I pick the players that I do. Highly recommend you guys go and check that out. Links to all that in the description, of course. But until next time, guys, good luck with all of your bidding for the Jock Market tonight. And let's go ahead and win some cash.